Next hand I'm in the small blind again with pocket 3s. The flop comes a beautiful one, king 3 deuce with 2 clubs. I'm all in. What's up everybody? Playing at Aria Resort Poker Room today, which is in my opinion the most stylish room that I played inside Vegas, and I would definitely advise you to check it out when you're in Vegas. Good game and fair rake. My name is Aria and I'm the founder of Poker Profit Channel, the first poker vlog created to help you become a better poker player. I buy in for 800, the max at this game is 1000. The first hand from this episode, I got ace queen from the small blind. Under the gun +1 raises to 15, hijack calls, and here I don't have a lot of information from both players. They both have a bigger stack than mine, so if I 3-bet here, I have to 3-bet large because I'm out of position. And I decided to 3-bet to $70. If you already follow me for a while, you already know that I like to build a loose image for myself in the beginning of my sessions. So I will definitely 3-bet here with ace queen. I decided to go with a large size. They both fold and I take the pot. Second hand, I have queen 10 from the button. I got 2 limpers before me. I'm gonna raise here in position. I raise to 30. They both call, which is a great sign, because I love to see limp callers in my right, so I can exploit them in the future. How much do you play? Kind of. How much do you play, please?
About 1,000.
Thank you. My right is full of recreational players, and my left is full of regs. So that's pretty interesting. Effective stacks are deep. The flop comes 8, king, jack with 2 spades. I have open-ended in this flop and run a spade flush. They both check to me. I'm gonna bet here. I bet half of the pot. Big blind calls. And then the middle position goes all in for 224. That's a clear call for me in my opinion. I had to call 170 for a pot that has 431 and I have 8 outs to hit my open-ended. The issue here is if the big blind decides to shove when I call. So if he shoves, I'm gonna have to fold. And there is a possibility of him doing that for the spot. But I decide to take my chances and call for 169 more. The big blind calls as well. 774 in the pot. And we see a turn of ace of spades. This turn is pretty interesting because I have the 10 of spades. There's a relevant chance some of them has the flush already. The big blind checks. I decide to check back here. I have a straight and an opportunity to hit my flush in the river, which it doesn't come, it comes the deuce of diamonds. The big blind bets 300, and here I'm just gonna call and hopefully win the hand. And then he shows queen 10 having the same hand that I had, and we chop.
Same.
And you could have won the river.
Yes. This next hand is really interesting. I have pocket 9s in the small blind. Under the gun and low jack, call 5. I'm gonna raise here. I raise to 35 from the small blind. And then the big blind 3-bets me to 105. Everybody else folds. He appears to take the game seriously. There's a good chance he's a pro. And I don't think I can fold just yet with pocket 9s here. I think his 3-betting range will have many ace king, ace queen, ace jack. There will be 10s, jacks, queens, kings and aces as well, but there are too many combos that I'm beating. Effective stack is 750, so we are relatively deep, and I decide to call and see the flop. The flop comes 3, 6, 10 rainbow. That's a pretty dry flop that most likely didn't hit none of us, so I check. He bets 100, and here I think calling is just too weak, because against the hands that I'm beating, like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, for example, those hands still have 6 outs. So if I just call here, I'm gonna let him be the aggressor, have control of the hand, and be able to check back with those hands in the turn, because I'm not gonna call here and then lead on the turn with pocket 9s. So instead of just calling like most people do, I decide to check raise to 300, put pressure on him, sending the message I'm gonna shove in the turn, which I'm not, most likely if he calls, and pay attention to how he reacts to this raise. And here he starts to be really agonizing.
Give me a minute, I'm sorry. Situation. See what you're doing. You're saying you're gonna commit me here.
He's right, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. And when he says that, I'm already thinking I'm behind. Unless he is a crazy dude who would be willing to commit with ace king, for example. So he thinks for a long time.
You're bluffing me or you got it.
And decides to fold queens face up.
Man, I can tell you what I had.
Which I think is a very bad fold, honestly. I think the bottom fold for him here would be jacks, but folding queens is definitely not a good decision, but I'm glad that he did it. Now let me ask you that. What did you think about this play? Did he play bad? Did I play bad? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Next hand I have pocket 8s on the low jack. Under the gun raises to 15. Middle position calls. And here I could decide just to call with 8s. But because I feel like my hand is most of the times beating both of their hands, I decide to go with a 3-bet.
65.
I won't mind if all of them fold and I take the pot, which doesn't happen. Only the under the gun calls. We're playing heads up. The flop comes ace, 5, 6 with 2 diamonds. His effective stack is 180, so SPR is close to 1 here. So when he checks, I'm just gonna put him all in here and hopefully he doesn't have the ace. But I think it would be a big mistake for me just to check back here, because most of the times I think I'll be winning here, so I got to protect my equity and not allow him to see the turn or the river for free. He calls the 180, turn and river come a deuce and a 6, and he shows 6-3 of clubs, making trips in the river and getting lucky, but that's fine, it happens. In case you haven't done this yet, hit the like, consider subscribing if you want more content about poker. The mission of this channel is help you become a better poker player, and let's move on with the episode. Next hand I'm in the small blind again with pocket 3s, under the gun straddles to 10, 3 callers, I complete, no reason for me to raise here from the small blind. Big blind completes as well, so 6 players see the flop. The flop comes a beautiful one, king 3 deuce with 2 clubs, I check, everybody checks back, unfortunately. Then the turn comes one of the best cards in the deck, I make a full house. Hopefully someone has the deuce, and there is a relevant chance someone does, because the hand wasn't raised pre-flop. Now I'm gonna bet. I bet 30, only the big blind calls me. The river comes a queen of clubs, flush draw gets there. I hope he has a flush, and I decide to make a sizing that if he has a flush draw, he is most likely gonna re-raise me, so I can 4-bet shove. So instead of going big here, I decide to bet 55, which is a little less than half of the pot. He does exactly what I wanted him to do. He re-raised to 150. His total effective stack is 450. So I have an easy all-in shove here. That's what I do. I go all in for 450. He starts to agonize here and I'm sure I'm ahead already. Hopefully I can get a call. He calls. I show the full house and he mucks, telling me that he had only the deuce, which is great. I just got donated a lot of money here if he only had the deuce. Next hand I have ace king on the hijack, one limper before me. I raise to 25 in position. The button clicks me to 50, like raises my bet on 2x, which is really weird. I decide just to call instead of 4-betting. We're playing deep and ace king is a hand that is flipping with many things. If I felt weakness on him, I would probably 4-bet, but as I didn't, I decided just to call. The flop comes jack 7-6 rainbow. I'm gonna check and pretty much fold for his c-bets, which doesn't happen because he checks back. Then it comes an 8 of spades. We both check again, and then the river comes a 8 of clubs. And here, after he checked back so many times, I don't think he has a pair, and I decide to bet here, trying to target ace 10 suited and ace queen that he has in his range, and maybe I could make ace king fold here by representing I have a pair. So I bet 40. He thanks for a long time.
Maybe it's 9s again. He's saying value bet. Pretty sure it's the hand. 9s.
He calls. I show ace king.
Ace queen? Ace queen?
And he shows ace queen. The table wasn't so good anymore, so I decided to take this win home. Great session overall. I played for a little more than an hour and won $650. And the next day, I go to a skydive in Grand Canyon, and maybe some of you guys are interested about that experience. It's really worth it. Grand Canyon is like 4 hours away from Vegas, and Paragon Skydive has a great service. I think skydiving was one of the hardest moments of my life, honestly, because you gotta deal with a lot of fears, especially the one of dying. But come on, it's one death out of 220,000 jumps. So I decided to take my chances. This moment is the worst. Keeping calm right now is really hard. If you don't do well with your fears, I don't recommend you to try to skydive, because there's a big chance you're gonna pass out on this part. Best experience of my life, by far. Damn.
Good job. High five.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. The mission of this channel is helping you become a better poker player. Hopefully I'm achieving that goal, and see you next time.